Previously on Video Game Hangover.
There was Drake's necklace and Drake's belt buckle, and there was a statue of Nathan Drake.
Slower.
Slowly working my way down to his belt buckle. Drake's belt buckle. Drake's belt buckle.
Hello, people of the internet. Welcome to Video Game Hangover, the podcast for Ben Affleck. Because I kind of don't think he's that bad as Batman. I think that's not bad. I'm okay with it.
What?
You disagree?
I don't think he's a good actor.
He's a great director, though.
I think he's a great director, yeah.
And a pretty good writer, so...
He's kind of forgettable as an actor, but I mean, he's going to be in a rubber mask for most of it. So
Let me just put it this way, guys. People were saying the same thing about Heath Ledger, so...
And Michael Keaton. I seem to recall some fury about Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton's no good, dude. No.
Are you putting Ben Affleck up on the same level with Heath Ledger?
I'm just saying, look, as somebody who loves Batman, maybe a little bit more than you guys, I'm taking a wait-and-see approach, so you guys should too.
Let's all follow Paul's example. And if he can stay level-headed about this, then so can the rest of us.
Let's just wait and see.
Each week on VGH.
If he sucks, there's always Avengers 2, so...
Right. We'll just wait 3 years and they'll reboot it again and find some other person to put in it. Yeah.
Justin Bieber as Batman.
So, video games, guys.
Yes.
Yep, video games. Each week on Batman Hangover, we'll discuss the games that have been keeping us up late and break down a gaming-related topic. On this week's show, we're talking about gamer rage in its many forms, including rage-inducing characters, memorable rage quits, and more. In the Hangover this week, we'll weigh in on Splinter Cell Blacklist. We've also got a quick update on our summer backlog attack, and we'll wrap things up with Last Call. I'm Randy Dickinson, and I'm in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
I'm DJ Ross, and I'm in Mountain View, California.
Hello, this is Paul Sandu in Dallas, Texas.
Hello.
Ooh, listen to that smooth voice.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm Batman.
Oh, God. Oh, it begins.
I'm Adam Jensen.
Stop it.
Oh, no, I think we did this bit about a year and a half ago, so
but it's relevant again.
Let's not rehash that.
It's relevant again because Deus Ex comes out for the Wii U this week.
Oh,
awesome.
Really? Oh, good for the Wii U.
Right, exactly. Good for them.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, we got some viewer mail. You want to read some viewer mail?
Tons of it.
Last week, we were talking about game collections and collector's editions, so this week we asked you guys, what was your favorite collector's edition of all time, and what was the best piece of swag that came along with it? Got some interesting answers. Some of these I didn't even realize had collector's editions with them. But anyway, from Twitter, Titus Blitz says The Last of Us Post-Pandemic Edition was pretty cool. Says he loved the statue from Project Triforce. And I thought that was like a Zelda thing, but... No, it's like this company who produces these super badass, high-quality figurines and replica guns and stuff like that. Have you guys seen these? Have you guys seen the Last of Us statue?
I haven't. Yeah, the Last of Us statue is awesome.
Yeah.
Really and good luck getting your hands on one of those post-pandemic editions at this point. It is a true collector's edition in that you don't go into Best Buy and see giant stacks of them for $30. But yeah, they're impossible to come by. So it's cool. There is definitely an air of exclusivity to it.
Yeah, that's very good. So hang on to that one. Euro Chuck Norris says Watch Dogs. I guess he's looking forward to the collector's edition when that comes out because it comes with the mask that the main character wears when he's about to hack the PlayStation 4. What?
Ooh.
I don't. What is that about?
I don't know. Is that a real thing?
Do you hack a PlayStation 4? Maybe in the Xbox One version you're hacking a PlayStation 4.
Oh, dis.
I don't know. Check it out. Oscar50 says his favorite collector's edition is Killzone 3 because of the amazing art book, DLC, and most importantly, the full Helghast helmet with glowing red eyes.
That's creepy, but art book I can get behind.
Yeah, DJ, you're a sucker for an art book, aren't you?
I do. I have been swayed by the occasional art book. The Metal Gear HD edition. First of all, I'm a huge fan of Yoji Shinkawa, but he put out this enormous art book with the Metal Gear re-release that came out a couple years ago. So that put me over the fence.
Relevant story. My girlfriend was helping me organize some old video games over the weekend and came across my Catherine art book. And was flipping through it with a disgusted and horrified look on her face, going, "Why do you have anime porn?" Right, exactly. My porn stash is really secretly the Catherine art book. So, sorry, honey.
You love your anime butts.
There we go again.
Yep.
And then finally, Grantitis. Am I saying that right? Grantitis on Twitter says, Diablo 3 Collector's Edition for says it's $80 well spent. Came with Diablo 1, Diablo 2. You got in-game wings for the Diablo 3 that are sick as fuck. And got Diablo's head, a statue of Diablo's head. And the horn is a 4 gigabyte USB stick. Of course it is. Yeah. Faithful to the, I don't know. I don't know where that was going.
I just want to throw this out there right now. Video Game Hangover episode 111, sick as fuck.
Okay. It's official.
Sorry, iTunes.
Thanks, Grantitis. And the rest of you guys for your Collector's Edition swag highlights. Do you guys have any favorite Collector's Edition items? Randy, you talked about your Dead Space plasma cutter.
my noisy cricket from Dead Space, yeah.
But Paul, you weren't here. Do you ever do the Collector's Edition thing?
Yeah, it's funny because I did want to quickly mention the last Collector's Edition I bought was The Witcher 2 Special Edition for Xbox.
Oh, that one was badass.
It was awesome. Like, it comes with this kick-ass medallion that I would wear to work if they wouldn't, frisk me down or what have you. But the art book, I still, even to this day, I mean, I've had it for like a year and a half. And I just flip through that art book every now and then. I am a sucker for a nice art book. It came with some nice stickers, which I used to pimp my computer case. I believe that's the lingo.
Put them on your lunchbox, Paul?
And my lunchbox, yeah. And one of my cats has a Witcher sticker on their side, too. But no, seriously. I rebought the game because I got the PC version from Matt. So the developers didn't get any of my money. So I went out of my way to buy the Collector's Edition for Witcher 2 because, one, I love the game, but two, all the stuff that came included in it was really nice.
Those guys really pulled out all the stops, too. I mean, that's like a serious Collector's Edition.
It was really nice.
Excellent.
Okay. Cool.
And we have one more piece of feedback from Ryan, also known as Pastry. I think Paul, let you read this one.
Sure, yeah. I remember he was saying that he had first played Chrono Trigger during this backlog that he was cleaning up here. So on the show, I was asking if he could send us, some impressions that he had of the game, and he sent a nice little email. Just a little parts of it. He does say, after a little deliberation, he comes to the conclusion that Chrono Trigger is truly a perfect game. And I have to say, I do agree with him in that regard. And I was really happy. He goes on to say, it just simply nails every aspect of a video game. The story is completely epic, and the music is some of the best stuff that I've ever heard in my life. Wow. And just the fact that it's accompanied with everything else makes it so much better. DJ, you were going to say something? I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, no, I was just gawking. No, that's high praise. It's pretty good.
Oh, it is. And he also says that the battle system is insanely well balanced and results in probably the only RPG that I've ever played where the battles never started to feel repetitive for a second. And I agree with all of that. This is why Chrono Trigger is my favorite game ever. The pacing is perfect, the music, the graphics, everything comes together in a way that's rare for most games. So that's exactly how I feel about it.
I need to play it. I own it. I have to
it's
play
incredible
it at some point,
and you'll like it. I mean, the barrier to entry for it is almost non-existent. It just eases you in, and the pacing. The battles, he's right. They really don't feel repetitive. They're challenging at certain points, but it's perfect in terms of balance.
Paul,
and then he also adds... Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, for anybody who's listening who hasn't played it, what do you think is the best way to play it? Is there a definitive version that's kind of accessible for people?
That's a good question.
I have a copy
DS
for
one
the
is pretty
DS.
good, right?
Yeah, and I remember you endorsing that, but I'm not sure how easy that is to come by at this point.
I would recommend the DS version, but if you have a Wii, you can get it on the eShop as well. And that's the old Super Nintendo original release from '95.
Did they clean that up at all?
They did, yes. Yeah.
Okay, so what did they like put in the new translation?
Yeah, the DS has a completely redone localization. The script is totally different, and I think it's superior to the original release in a lot of ways. But there is something charming about that translation from 1995 as well.
Oh.
So they're both excellent. But
Wait, so the Virtual Console one, they actually went back and put in the new localization, is that right?
no, the Virtual Console version is the original release in 95.
That's weird. I could have sworn hearing that they actually did that with some Virtual Console game, which is pretty weird, pretty unusual. So maybe I just made it up because it's too weird.
Well, I do have it on Virtual Console, so it is the original.
Oh, okay.
Yes, but it doesn't have any of the special cutscenes that they added in the PlayStation release either, so that's another thing the DS has.
Well, the PlayStation
well.
one is not good, right?
No, that's pretty terrible. Don't play that one. You don't do that.
Just to be confusing, so I thought I'd throw that out there.
But
Go with the DS version.
If you have a DS or a 3DS, I just confirmed Amazon has new copies available for sale.
There you go.
It's still about $40. But
Worth
if you
it.
want to play the best RPG ever, apparently, you should.
Yeah. And
Paul would encourage it, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely. And the last thing that Ryan said, and this is very telling as well, he says he knows it's going to be one of those classics that he goes back to beat over and over again year after year. And yeah, buddy, you better get on that because you have like 12 other endings that you have to unlock. Because there's like 13 different endings you can unlock. And if you didn't know that, surprise, there's a nice little treat for you waiting in your New Game Plus. Cheers.
It's okay. I only ever got like 3 of those endings, so you're cool. Don't tell Paul.
Cool. We love that passion, though, Ryan. Thanks for sharing that with us. That was great.
Oh, yeah. So happy he felt that way.
All your hype for Chrono Trigger is validated.
Absolutely.
By strangers on the internet. Awesome.
I'll take it whenever I can get it.
Right, precisely. No, wait, thank you. Cool. So we are coming
Thanks
up
everybody
on
for writing in, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, we stepped on your point there, but we are coming up on the final week or so of our late summer backlog attack here.
Last week,
Yeah,
the final week.
To cross some items off of your backlog list. We've got some cool folks chiming in on Twitter and on our blog this week. Our boy Don't Judge My ADD says, this completed backlog game brought to you by Scotch. It was Rayman Origins. Maybe not the best game for alcohol, but I have no regrets. Hey, whatever gets you there.
Or he posted a screenshot of the ending with a big old tumbler or what have you.
Yeah.
Yep. Scotch. I love Scotch.
Who doesn't?
Right. But Scotch. There's so many wonderful things it can do. Congrats and thanks for sharing.
Also on Twitter, Trace Dixon, very impressive list that he's going through here. But he says so far he's crossed off Darksiders 2, Fire Emblem Awakening, Borderlands 2, and Battle Block Theater off of his list. And that is insane. Because
Fire Emblem Awakening, not a short game.
No, it's like, I think my final playtime was like 45 hours. And Borderlands 2 took me around 30, I think. So that's a lot of game. Wow.
Pretty good. Pretty impressive. Yeah. Keep on, keep your tweets coming. We like hearing them, and we've got our eyes on you. Figure out who wins the fall release of their choice. And speaking of that, we heard from a few of you. We asked if you could pick the fall release of your choice, if you end up winning this thing, which game will it be? We have answer from Creed 8, who says The Wonderful 101, the hot new Wii game coming out same week as GTA 5, incidentally.
That's rough, dude. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, hey, more power to him. I want to play that myself.
Yeah,
Don't Judge My ADD. Hear from again, who says Batman Arkham Origins. And then Cube00 says he's playing for Assassin's Creed 4. Don't make us buy you an Assassin's Creed game.
Oh, snap. Really? A lot of disappointment there.
Oh, whatever. I mean, we'll still honor it. We'll just...
Yeah, we won't judge you for your choices, obviously. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Right. Well, we won't judge you out loud. Well, we're doing it now, so never mind. Yes, we will.
What are you trying to say here, Randy?
Yep, we'll absolutely judge you for your choice, Creed.
There.
Or no, sorry, not Creed, Cube.
Well, you already... Yeah, never mind.
Never mind.
Well, let's put that behind us. So anyway, like we said, we're coming up on the last week or so. The contest officially ends on the 9th, so we'll start passing judgment on you guys. So that means you have 2 weekends left to get through as many backlog games as possible. And if you want to get in on the final weekly challenge, all you have to do is, with the hashtag backlog attack, tweet us the name of the first game you ever finished. Does that work?
Not the first game in your backlog attack, but the first game in your life that you ever played through to completion, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
Yes. Wow, that's going back.
That's hardcore, man.
Is it? Yeah. Well, I'm curious. I think we'll get a pretty wide variety of answers.
Man, I got to think of my answer.
Save it for next week.
Okay.
I'll spend the next week thinking about it.
Cool. All right. Well, it's time for the Hangover, where we talk about the games we've been playing lately. Well, I know DJ and I have been playing the same thing. Paul, you wanna start?
Sure. Couple of games. Should I talk about my backlog that I've been making some dent in? I guess, sort of.
Yeah. Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
I did finish Spec Ops: The Line, guys, and I'll keep it spoiler free, but I really enjoyed it. I blew through it in a weekend. It was really. I found it very impressive in terms of the way the narrative unfolds. I got to keep it spoiler free. It definitely plays with conventions in the shooter genre storytelling. That was very accurate. You guys nailed that.
Absolutely.
I found it was pretty heavy-handed at points, though, and that kind of turned me off. But
Are you talking about just like the story? I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, the loading screens would say certain things that I would be like, "Come on, really? You're really gonna try to make me feel bad or something like that? Don't do that." But after I completed the game, I started reading about it on the internet, and it seems like most people found that the story was the draw and the gameplay was kind of lackadaisical, and I was almost the opposite. I found the gameplay was really engaging and the story was strong.
Really?
But it didn't blow me away or change my life like some people were saying like it did for them.
All right. I mean, I really liked the story, and I admire it for
me too.
its story. But I thought the gameplay was solid. As far as shooters go, it felt very Uncharted. That was what it reminded me of almost entirely, and not just because it was Nolan North's voice coming out of the main character.
Oh yeah.
But,
man.
and he was great in that. I thought
he did
the voice
an
acting
amazing
in the
job,
game.
yeah.
But yeah, he gets obviously a lot of praise and a lot of sort of jibes for putting his voice in just about every video game ever. So much so that Saints Row 4 has a Nolan North version.
Yes, I've heard about that.
But I mean, his work in Spec Ops is fantastic. He's so good in that character.
I felt that he did a better job in Spec Ops than he did in Uncharted in terms of range.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I would see that.
Oh man, I don't want to even give it away, but did you finished The Last of Us, right? So you saw his name in the credits?
Yeah, I could not believe that.
Oh, I know.
The character.
So good. So good.
Yeah, I had to look up a picture of the character on the internet to go, what? Really? That was Nolan North?
Yeah.
So yeah,
like that guy deserves more credit than even we're already giving him. I mean, he's pretty good, but you have no idea like his range. Anyway, that's all we'll say about that.
There's one last thing I wanted to say. I forget. Oh, okay, I remember. One thing that impressed me about Spec Ops, and this is spoiler free, no worries, but there are certain decision points in the game that happen really organically. A menu doesn't pop up and say, hey, pick this or pick that, like in some of my other favorite games. And without giving anything away, I hope that more developers copy what the Spec Ops developers did in this regard. Because I didn't even know that some of these scenarios were decision points. They were that organic. That was awesome.
I really liked the decisions, and like there are a few of them that were that felt a little more artificial than the other ones.
Right.
But like even then, they were like pretty creative what they were having you choose between. So yeah, I found myself stopped on a couple of them. I was like, oh wait a minute, had to really think about it.
Well, there was one in particular where I'm like, do I really have to do this? Do I really have to do this? And then I find out after I beat the game, I didn't have to do it, but I did it anyway in the game because I felt like I had to. So,
I want to know what that one was.
I was surprised to find out this was actually a decision point, and I had no idea, and that was a wonderful surprise.
Cool. Well, that's a nice, like you said, organic way to handle it rather than.
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
In a very dark game, it was beautifully done in terms of mechanics. I thought that was great. So yes. 2 thumbs up for Spec Ops, man. That was a great game, and I'm so happy that I finally beat it.
Awesome. I'm glad you finally got around to it.
Excellent. So as far as my backlog attack goes, I'm in the home stretch on Resident Evil Revelations. It's pretty good. I'm having a good time with it. It's a very, very good Resident Evil game. It reminds me of the old ones that I used to love.
That's what I've heard, yeah.
I'm a little disappointed it's not zombie Resident Evil. Instead, it's these ooze monsters, and they're not as cool. But I'm kind of getting over the controls, and I dig it. It's got a lot of ambiance. What else? Splinter Cell? DJ, want to talk about Splinter Cell?
I was going to say, I haven't made any progress on my backlog this week, although I did go back to Analog, A Hate Story, which I was playing a couple weeks ago, and I got the rest of those log entries, got a few more of the endings. It was kind of nice to go back and revisit it.
You're kicking ass, though, in your progress. You can afford to take a week off.
Okay, well, I don't want to rest on my laurels or anything.
Where you dump some of that time into Splinter Cell.
Yeah. That's what I've been doing.
So, yeah, DJ and I have been playing the new Splinter Cell Blacklist. Not together yet.
Splinter Cell Black Partner.
That's funny because you do have a black partner.
Yeah.
So what do you think, DJ?
It's good. I mean, clearly, because I think I'm more than halfway through the campaign at this point.
Oh, wow.
Just I find it really easy to just sit down. I mean, it's very familiar if you played Splinter Cell Conviction. Just sit down, crank out a mission in an hour or so, and just be like, okay, that's nice. Put a little bow on it. They're all kind of self-contained. It gives you a little break before you move on to the next one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like that. Well, I like that it gives you sort of multiple options for getting through these scenarios, because I will inevitably my toe will be hanging out and I'll get spotted by a guard, or the dogs. Man, there's guard dogs in this, and
I
they
hate
make me
it.
crazy. No. Hate the guard dogs.
When has there been a time where you were like, oh good, they put dogs in this game, now I have to deal with dogs?
There is one scenario that I kept respawning back into where I swear it would drop me 5 feet away from a dog. And I would respawn sort of behind cover, and the dog would just freeze and stare in my direction. I'm like, please don't see me, please don't see me. And he starts
they
barking.
Can smell
and I'm
you,
like,
though.
God damn it. Well, yeah, there's that too, yes. And then of course the guards are like, what do you see, boy? And I'm like, nothing. He sees nothing. Go away.
Ridiculous. He actually calls out. He's like, nothing here. It's so bad.
Right.
I've just been shooting him with the stun gun, which is terrible.
Yeah. No, I feel bad about it. Yeah.
I don't want I don't want to kill him. But I'm like, okay, dog, sorry. This is what I do.
I'm on the record for not wanting to beat up animals in video games. So yeah, every time one grabs my arm and it's like, mash the square button to escape, I'm like, damn it.
So is this more old school stealthy Splinter Cell or more actiony Conviction?
It's definitely
way yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Old school. No, it's not old school at all. It is very much super. I can't believe how fast the characters in this game move. The first time I got control of Sam Fisher and I pushed the stick to move him forward, he took off like a shot. And I'm like, who is this sort of guy sprinting through the level? It's crazy how much they've kind of cranked up the speed of these things.
I don't know if I feel like it's that much faster, but I don't know.
Totally
it's definitely still continuing the Conviction direction.
Yeah. I don't like it as much as Conviction yet.
Oh no, I don't think so. I mean, Conviction was really good. It was took me by surprise how just well polished everything was.
Well, the single player story, while being very linear, was self-contained. There was cool motivations to it. It was a revenge story essentially, and it played really, really well. And I found it very compelling to move from one scenario to another as you sort of unearthed all of this information. And I don't really feel that way about Splinter Cell. It's definitely kind of in a paramilitary save the world kind of thing. There's a big global terrorist events that you are trying to circumvent, and it doesn't feel as personal. It feels much more kind of grandiose. And I think that, too, obviously feeds the perception that it's a much bigger, much more kind of epic experience than what I sort of like Splinter Cells to be, which is kind of quiet and creepy and dark. And yeah,
so
and
how many of these? How much of the series have you played? Have you played all of them?
I'm pretty sure I've played all of them at this point. Yeah.
Okay. So I did 3 with Chaos Theory, I think, and then I didn't play Double Agent. Is that the right Double Agent? But then I got back in with Conviction, and Conviction just felt like it was kind of in development hell for a while, and they reworked, they changed a lot of the gameplay from the original, or the original trilogy, I guess, where it was very stealth, very serious stealth. And I felt like everything they did with Conviction was just so confident in, even though they were changing so much of like the series hallmarks. They were just like, okay, this is how it's going to be from now on, and they did it so well. This one, the Blacklist, feels like it's kind of just like iterating on it, where it's like, hey, you guys like the last one? We're gonna make another Splinter Cell game. And it's kind of disappointing because it's like, I don't know, maybe it's unfair to make that comparison just because Conviction was such a dramatic shift, and this one is definitely not as dramatic of a change.
Right. I think Conviction was a dramatic shift, but like you said, it was confident and it controlled perfectly, and it was... once you sort of got into the experience, you were like, oh, I don't know what I was worried about. Again, if you were coming from the old games, yeah, there was a lot of hubbub about the changes. But it felt right. I felt like, oh, I'm okay with this. I can live with these changes. You know what I mean? And they have not changed much of that significantly from Conviction in this, but it doesn't feel necessarily as fresh. It also feels kind of like, and far be it for me to complain about having too much to do in a game, but it does kind of feel like the kitchen sink. The game opens up with, you kind of have an airplane headquarters, right? It's called the Paladin.
Yeah.
And it starts with this sort of global map where you can kind of see these incidents of sort of terrorist attacks and co-op experiences. There's people on the plane you can talk to, and they'll give you separate side missions that gives you different bits of information and unlocks new pieces of armor and weapons. And there's so much in it to do that I sort of stared at the map for a minute or so going, well, what should I do? What's the first thing I need to do in this? And it does feel a little directionless.
Have you been jumping around between the different missions? Because I've been playing straight through the campaign, just like the red dots on the map.
I started doing that, and then I got to one that I found a little frustrating, and I kept sort of failing on. It gives you 3 paths to play down, where one is just essentially run and gun, and one is stealth, but you kill everybody, and one is sort of silent but deadly. And you earn points in all of those columns, but if you try to stick to one path, you earn even more points and unlock some more. So I was trying to sort of stick to a specific path, yeah. And I was getting frustrated and forgetting sort of shot down and doing that. And for the dogs...
Oh, man, I was going to ask you, like, which path you're going down, but I already know, because there are leaderboards.
Stealth, but kill everybody.
Oh, no, that's not... It says you were going down the ghost path.
Oh, accidentally then. Yeah, I'm definitely...
Whoops, I'm a ghost.
I feel like there's a pretty high body count, but maybe the stats aren't showing that.
I don't know. It's pretty generous, it seems like.
So yeah, I got a little frustrated with trying to get through that one mission and decided to do one of the secondary ones, which was basically sort of go and sneak into this camp, kill everybody, and if you get detected, it's a fail state. So that felt very much like a kind of an old school Splinter Cell experience, and I kind of poked around with that for a little while and got through it after 1 or 2 attempts. It was fun.
Like I said, I've yet to check those out, and I should. Yeah, but overall it just feels like, I don't know, kind of paint by numbers Splinter Cell stealth game, which is not a bad thing, because I'm still enjoying it, but I don't know, it's no Conviction, that's for sure.
Do you guys miss Michael Ironside yet?
I do. Oh my god. It's like a huge deal for me.
Yeah, I figured.
The new guy is not very good either.
And he's so forgettable. There is nothing distinct or noteworthy about him. He doesn't have a particularly impactful voice or delivery.
No, he's like the most
physically
cookie cutter guy.
Kind of skinny and reedy, and I mean has sort of military buzz cut guy, and he could just be any sort of forgettable character from Resistance or any number of other.
Yeah, no, he doesn't even look like him anymore, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they modeled, but I don't know if they definitely did like motion capture. I don't know if they took his face or anything, but like it's so weird because in Conviction, wasn't he? He was like kind of an old guy. He's never been
gruff.
Really young.
Oh yeah, totally.
Dude, right? But he looks like way younger in this one.
He does.
And I don't know, it's weird. And I don't want to get like mixed up and complain about like Splinter Cell canon or anything like that. But I don't know, it feels like I'm not sure what the path from Conviction to this game was exactly.
Michael Ironside is probably just asking for too much money. He's like, screw that.
Well, I think they said they wanted to have the same guy doing the motion capture as doing the voiceover.
But when
Yes.
you have a distinct voice and people become attached to that, why change it? And I don't understand that. I mean,
Michael Ironside was so good. Like
Yeah,
his
like-
voice is like, it's really sad that he's not in it anymore.
when you have an actor that owns a role, it can add a lot of like emotional attachment for the consumer, and I think
totally.
that's a big mistake. Don't do that.
Well, I mean, we had a similar conversation earlier this year about Metal Gear, which I know you guys are. I don't know.
Wait, who did they? Oh, because Kiefer Sutherland.
It's gonna be Kiefer now,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of David Hayter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
It's jarring. It's a big disconnect. And I mean, I like reboots. I think, if they're done well, they can be quite compelling. But this isn't a reboot. This is a continuation with no explanation for why he's suddenly 15 years younger and
Yeah.
50 pounds lighter.
So I just found out a couple weeks ago that Kevin Conroy is not reprising his role as Batman in Arkham Origins, and that, I mean, I was already kind of iffy about it. Now I'm like, I can wait.
Yeah.
And that's
know who
how
they're
attached
putting
I
in
am to
instead?
him. Pardon me?
Do you know who's going in instead? Is it
don't
Ben
remember.
Affleck?
Ben Affleck, yeah, totally.
No, I was just saying, like, that's why, I mean, just wanted to make that comment about, because I know, people loved Michael Ironside's performance, and I can totally appreciate that, because I've been listening to a certain voice actor, voice one of my favorite characters for over 20 years, and anytime it's not him voicing the character, something feels wrong. So and that's, I get why people are upset, especially because Michael Ironside is awesome, so.
Also, Anna Grimsdottir is Canadian now.
Yes, yeah.
It's just weird. There's weird stuff going on with the cast in that game.
Well, you got a problem with Canadians? What?
Maybe I do. Maybe I do.
Oh, we'll take it outside after the show.
Okay.
Yeah, I did notice that she was oohing her out.
She's not even like, the voiceover director has got to be like, hey, no, go back and do that line over. You totally like Canadianized it. I don't know. It's weird.
You sound
Maybe
like one of
I'm-
the guards in Mark
Too
of the Ninja.
invested in this. Yeah. I don't know. Overall, game is good. We do want to mention, if you're playing it on the PS3, there's going to be some Spies versus Mercs action that we want to recruit people for.
Yeah, definitely.
Because, oh man, I never got to play this mode. It's like legendary. I want to try it out.
Oh, cool.
People have said it's like the greatest multiplayer mode ever.
Do you know about this? I mean, we shouldn't get into
Even
it.
I've
'cause
heard
we're-
of it. I'm not
yeah.
even a Splinter Cell fan, and even I've heard of Spies versus Mercs.
Yeah. So at some point after I guess we finish the campaign, we'll do a little multiplayer.
Yeah, we'll definitely reflect on it and rope some folks in to some sessions of that game because it's a good time.
Yeah.
While we're sort of wrapping up our first impressions here of Splinter Cell, I will say that from conviction, I also missed the interrogations. I know that we had a good time with those, sort of bouncing people off of cabinets and sticking their face into paper shredders. And I don't know if those pop up in Splinter Cell, but they're not in the parts of the game that I've played thus far, and I think that's a big omission.
I don't think they do. I mean, I heard there was like some interactive torture stuff, but then they took it out for one reason or another, which is I don't know. There was such a great discussion on this on the Idle Thumb show a couple weeks ago. Maybe I'll put a link to it. But no, it was like about torture is always gets you the right information and is always the right answer for these super spies, and like the moral questions and suggestions surrounding that. But I'll have a link to that. It was really good.
Cool. All right. Well, I have a feeling that came off a little more negative than we intended it to. We're having a good time with it, right? Though I mean,
I don't know. We
it's
just
fun.
want Michael Ironside back.
Right. Exactly.
Maybe
I just
conviction
want back.
to set the bar so damn high.
It really did. Like I think back on that game, and I'm just like, oh man, it was really good. It was way better than I realized.
I think I will add it to my, as if I need to do this, but I think I'll add conviction to. I'll officially add it to my backlog.
You're
for the
adding
backlog
stuff to your
attack,
backlog.
so.
This is
Yeah. What the hell? I've got one game
Madness.
done. Let's add a fifth or a sixth or wherever. I can't even keep it straight anymore. But yep, Splinter Cell Conviction. I'm adding it to my
Pile it on.
backlog.
Okay, excellent. That's a good game.
And it probably won't get done. Just saying.
Okay, well, for what it's
So onward to the heart of this week's show. We this is sort of prompted by an offline conversation we had about things in video games that make us so angry that we just want to throw controllers across the room. So we,
Have you ever done that?
We would. I don't think I've ever thrown a controller. No, controllers are expensive. I've never chucked any expensive piece of electronics.
I have.
Oh man, I was gonna say like back in the day they weren't as expensive, but they were also like corded. So if you threw one, you risk like pulling the whole thing off the shelf.
right out of your TV center, and yeah.
I
so
may or may not have had that happen.
Wait, you pulled it off the shelf?
Not me. Not me.
Oh.
Someone who's related to me may or may not have done that many, many years ago.
Were you in the room for this?
Yes.
Yes.
I was the cause of the rage.
Oh man!
Oh, really?
That's great.
Yeah.
Excellent. So we thought we would take the topic of gaming rage and kind of split it into our own personal takes on it. So who wants to kick this thing off?
Paul, why don't you
Paul?
go for it?
Yeah.
Me? Okay, where do you guys want to start?
With,
Just
with your question.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, I thought, why don't we do a quick little mini topic about rage-inducing characters in a game? Characters you hate for whatever reason. They could be like a total putz or whatever. I mean, a character that just makes you want to rip your hair out, or in my case, rip your hair, one hair that you have out. But recently, I was playing Tales of the Abyss, okay? Because it was recently re-released for 3DS. And the protagonist of the story, it has to be the most obtuse, unlikable, bratty piece of shit that I've ever come across in a game. Ever. He's just the most unlikable character. Luke von Fabra, he's the main character, okay? And I hated him for the first 12 hours.
Because he's French-Canadian?
Because he is French-Canadian, I just hate... Okay.
I don't know.
Right away, I could tell that the developers were trying to portray Luke as like a sheltered, spoiled brat, and they succeeded in that. And eventually his character arc does take him down the path of redemption. But I thought it was a really peculiar choice to make him really unlikable. The rest of the characters do not like him. They make fun of him. He's abusive to another character in the game, the cute little animal sidekick. He literally kicks the sidekick.
No.
He's like, what redeemable qualities does this punk have?
Wait. So is like the animal sidekick is endearing? Because sometimes that can go the other way.
Yes and no. I mean, I can understand sometimes why he would want to kick the sidekick, but overall, it was just a very weird design choice. If you're going to make a character, unlikable, don't spend 12 hours making him a jerk, because that's way too long. 2 or 3 maybe, because you can tell like they're trying to, eventually set him down the path of redemption, which does happen, and he eventually redeems himself. But 12 hours with a douchebag is just a douchebag that I went to high school with. No, thank you. Like, fuck you, Luke.
I think at some level that sort of passes in some video games for like character progression. And look how much he's grown.
Right.
He used to be completely unlikable, and he found redemption in the final hours of the game. And a lot of that just rings hollow, I think, at this point.
Yes, it did kind of do that. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Oh, man. What a punk.
That's kind of like a JRPG staple. It's like Final Fantasy VIII, that guy.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if
there's
it came
a bit
around.
of that. Paul, I know you're playing Shin Megami Tensei 4. There's a character in the early hours of that game who scratches that itch too, who is just obnoxious and pushes all your buttons and does something really horrible at some point too, or in there, and it's sort of like, this is a little heavy-handed.
Yeah, there's no subtlety in Tales of the Abyss. I mean, it's so obvious what they're trying to do, and it does work. I just felt like 12 hours is too long to get to the point.
Long time to spend with somebody you don't like. I was thinking back on rage-inducing characters, and I can't think of a ton. The first character that I ever remember like really responding with negativity towards was the dog in Duck Hunt.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy, man.
That's like the ultimate. That's probably like
it is,
everybody.
right? Yeah. And I distinctly recall my father playing Duck Hunt on our old tube TV a long time ago and trying to shoot the dog. And I'm like, you can't shoot the dog, Dad. And you would miss the dog. And he would pop up and laugh at you. And yeah, my father would be trying to pull the trigger and throw the plastic gun at the, yeah.
And you stood in front of the television protecting the dog, right?
Yeah, right. I'm like, no, Dad. But recently, in sort of my recent gaming history, I think probably the most frustrated I've ever been by a character. And not because he was snotty or obtuse or anything like Paul's motivation, was just because he was so insurmountable, was Corvus. And hopefully this isn't a spoiler, but who is the final obstacle.
Wait.
Is that a spoiler?
Oh, no, I thought you were talking about the dude from Dishonored. That's Corvo.
No, Corvo.
Wait, okay,
yeah.
I know who you're talking about.
Corvus, who is the final boss in
continue.
Dragon Quest IX.
Yeah.
Who he kicked my ass so many times. I can't begin to tell you how many aborted attempts at getting past the final boss in that game I had. Dozens, probably upwards of 50. Just fail after fail after fail.
Oh my god. Really?
Go back, grind, new weapons, look up playthrough techniques on the internet, come back, try again, get my ass handed to me. Only to sort of kill him at one point and find that he, rises from the ashes again with a whole new form, and, regenerating health and power, and just wipes the floor with me one more time. And yeah, I really got to the point with that game where I was like, how do I cheat my way through this, DJ? Help me. Because I have tried Brawn, I have tried Smarts, there is no getting past this character. So yeah, that final boss, Dragon Quest, I mean, finally beating him, earning my way through it. Yeah. Was very satisfying, to say the least. I think there was shouting, there was dancing around the living room, there were dogs barking. Yeah, it was a good time. But man, I had to work for it.
Oh man, that's so good. Oh, I'm so glad you got past him though.
I'm proud of you, Randy, because even I haven't beaten Dragon Quest IX, so good on you.
Yep, that was a good time. There was a DJ, for those who are listening, taught me about a little corner you could hide in that occasionally would spawn metal slimes. So I just stood in that corner.
Oh, I forgot about that.
For hours and waited for one to drop and collect the XP. Collect. It was like 1,000 XP every single time, and I would just. It was the most broken technique for building XP, but I was just so tired of walking in circles trying to kill, 15 XP characters. I'm like, I need to go faster. But yeah, got it done. Very satisfying.
Fantastic.
So proud.
Oh man, I gotta change my answer to the Duck Hunt dog. I think that's the only answer.
Nope, you can't do that.
Well, I mean, that's like, it has to be your answer by default, but I have no one. Which is, oh man, so the most rage-inducing character, maybe not of all time, but in most recent memory, is probably just Donkey Kong. In Donkey Kong, what's the new one? Donkey Kong
have a thing.
Country
You hate
Returns?
monkeys, though.
I don't like
reason.
monkeys. I don't know what the deal is. Have I talked about this? I'm not a fan of
so.
monkeys.
No.
I had one. I had one in my Animal Crossing town.
I'm
for the
surprised you
longest
didn't
time.
pick him.
No, I'm trying to forget about that guy. He finally moved away. It was great. I had a big party. And I'm gonna build a trash can where his house used to be. But no, Donkey Kong in the new one is I don't know. I've never been a huge fan of Donkey Kong. Like, I like the games. I don't like how he's developed as like this grunting ape character. It's just like all the noises he makes are just obnoxious to me. I don't know what the deal is.
Oh man, I know who I'm picking when we play Smash Brothers next year.
Actually, I like Donkey Kong and Smash Brothers, but that's another thing. But no, and this is like in Donkey Kong Country Returns, which is already in itself incredibly rage-inducing.
Oh yeah.
Right? It's like impossible. I was having a really good time the first few worlds, but then it's just like the difficulty shoots up so high.
The for me it was the factory level, the one that's all in shadow. I got to that point and just failed so many times that I couldn't play it anymore. I
don't know if I did that one.
No, you didn't get there yet? Okay. Yeah, that was the breaking that was the breaking point for me.
There are so many levels in that game where I'm just like, I can't believe that they expect you to do this. But no, I think specifically the thing that bothers me the most about him is like every time you die in that game, which is often, he makes like the most obnoxious like like kind of sad like, oh, I just got hit by a minecart noise, and it's just like it's like rubbing salt into the wound. I can't stand it.
Well, I think that segues nicely to your mini topic, DJ.
Oh yeah, so my topic is your most memorable rage quit. Should I go first?
Sure.
It's
I had
not
a hard
Donkey
time
Kong.
with this one.
I did too. I had to look back on it because I'm sure there are a lot of incidents I'm forgetting. But it's not online. I'm gonna go ahead and say, like, at the end of a 50-minute long Monster Hunter quest, because some of these quests they go on for quite a long time. But like at the very end, and it's kind of a funny thing too because. Depending on how the last 2 or 3 minutes in a quest go, like sometimes you have the monster down and he's on the ropes, he's like limping around, and you know you're just about to knock him out or kill him or whatever. But some of the times it doesn't go that well, and you run out the timer, a 50-minute timer on these quests, and then it's just like, oh, game over, try again. And I want to be like, most of the time I can say like, if I go into one of these Monster Hunter quests and fail it, at least I've like taken away the experience of fighting this monster, and
Right.
I'll be better at it the next time. But like when it gets stretched out to 50 minutes, it's either like, okay, if you stretch it out that far and kill him with like 60 seconds left on the clock, which has happened many times, it's like the best feeling ever, because it's like your adrenaline's flowing and you're like watching the clock blink in the corner, and then you do it and it's great and you're like, oh, this is what Monster Hunter is all about. And then the other half of the time it's like
fuck this
it's like
game.
no, mission failed, and it's like, oh, what did I spent 50 minutes playing this game.
Maybe that's what Monster Hunter is really about.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I hate, and I think I'm on the record on this, I hate arbitrary time limits on anything in a video game. That is sort of like, oh, you have to do this seemingly impossible thing with sort of impossible odds and crazy insurmountable enemies coming at you. Oh, but you've also got to do it in 8 minutes.
Well, the thing is, like,
Well, why?
I don't know.
Give me an hour. Let me work on it.
I think it's nice because it adds a little time pressure. And honestly, like, if it's taking you 50 minutes, like more than half an hour, you're probably not ready to fight that guy at that point. I don't know.
You are not ready.
Right. But no, at that point, like, when the time over thing appears, I feel like it's a good thing these things are portable, like on portable systems, because otherwise I'd be like throwing a controller across the room. And in this case, I'm like, oh, I don't want to throw the whole thing into the wall because it'll break this expensive thing.
Right, the controller is the device that you're playing on, yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of a safety net.
For me, it's always bosses. For me, and it probably goes back to Corvus from Dragon Quest IX. Like when I think about games that I've bailed on, that I have refused to go back to, it is things like Darksiders, which I think I've talked about repeatedly on this show as my perfect example of a game where I just got to a point where I was so outmatched that I could not proceed any further. Inversion, which is a game I had a good time with, which is another one of my sort of D-list legends that I really enjoyed. But there was an insurmountable boss in that would have required a second character playing co-op with me. And of course, it's Inversion. There's nobody else playing that game, so there was no way to get past that, and I bailed. Deus Ex, what was the new one? Human Revolution.
Oh, really?
Did you get there was one or two boss battles in that where I felt like I was just beating my head against the wall trying to figure out, what do you want me to do?
Some of those are rough, man.
Oh yeah, everybody hated the bosses.
It got to the
right?
point in Human Revolution where I would save up points, I forget what they were called in the game, but they were the points you used to customize your character.
Right.
But I would always keep 2 or 3 in the bank, just so when I would reach a boss battle, I would look up a fact, see where I needed to put those points so I could overcome the bosses.
Yes.
It was silly. It was just so stupid.
Yep.
Of an otherwise great game.
And I think we talked about this at the time, it's so out of pace with the rest of what was going on in that game that it just felt glommed on.
Yeah, it was stupid.
So that made me all the more resentful of having to slog my way through them. But I went back to that. I mean, Deus Ex is a great game. I had an excellent time with it. But yeah, if I never have to do those boss battles again, that's fine. So yeah, I think that's sort of my rage list. And it's not much.
I had a tough time with this one because I normally don't rage quit, like in just in anger. I'll get tired of a game. I'll be like, okay, you know what, this isn't worth my time, what have you. And it's more of like I guess a calm quit. Okay? But there was a rage quit that I actually had earlier this year where I was just furious. I was pissed off, and I put aside a game that I love. It was when I was playing through Suikoden and Tierkreis again on DS. I had spent like 24, 25 hours. I love this game, and I've mentioned it on the show before. But I reached a point where I found out that I had missed a recruitable character.
Oh no.
And I was so pissed off. I'm like, because I wanted to collect all 108 and get the best ending, even though I've already done it before. Okay, but I was so pissed off.
In the same game?
What do you mean?
Like in the DS game?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, I've already completed it, and I've already got the best ending many years ago. This was my second playthrough, but even though it was my second playthrough, I got so pissed off I missed a character. I literally put the game down, and I haven't touched it since. I was so pissed off.
Oh, man.
I didn't throw it or anything, but I just kind of just said, all right, that's it, I'm done. I'm not going through this
That's
anymore.
enough, right?
Yeah, I was so mad.
I'm out. Good.
Did I talk about on here what I did with Suikoden 1? Where I got to the end of the game, and it turned out I missed a character, so I deleted my save file.
Wow.
Yeah,
but it wasn't out of rage though. It was like I knew that if I played the next, I finished the game at that point, I would never go back and get that character. So I kind of forced myself to do it.
I think
it made sense in my head at the time.
Summarize anything at this point, I think we would all be much happier if none of us played JRPGs ever again.
Oh, don't say
that's
that.
all
of
of
our
our
rage
this year. So what is wrong with me?
Right, exactly. All right, so my little mini topic here to wrap this up is where do you go with your rage? Where do you dump all of that anger? Because I mean, we don't want to throw controllers across the house. We don't want to shoot the duck hunt dog. We don't want to turn that on spouses and loved ones. So we have angst. What do we do with it?
Well, looking at my gut tells you where I put all my angst.
Are you eating your feelings, Paul?
Sometimes I do, man. I think that's just a general problem I have. I can't tie it into gaming rage specifically.
Oh no, that's totally mine. It's the worst.
Food? Put it in a burrito and wrap it in a tortilla and
yeah.
Put some red sauce on that. Yeah,
I will do that if I'm really pissed off. If I played like a really intense gaming session, naturally that's going to work up the hunger anyway. But if I'm like especially amped up and pissed off, I will turn to food. I don't do the controller throwing thing. That's my brother's problem. And remember earlier in the show I'd mentioned that there may or may not have been an incident that pulled the PlayStation 1 out of the shelf that we were having it on, and unfortunately that was me kicking his ass in a fighting game. He got pissed off, tossed the controller, and it pulled it right out of the entertainment
You keep
shelf.
saying may or may not, Paul, but I'm pretty sure it may.
It may have happened.
Yes.
It did happen.
So in a weird segue, do you guys have a go-to food stuff?
Oh man,
what is your DJ? It's the food segment you always wanted to do on the show.
The food segment. Oh, here it is. No,
it's happened organically. Here we go.
I do love some Taco Bell, and this is like if I'm already angry at a game, I'm in a hateful mood anyway. So why not?
Turn that hate inwards, right? Exactly.
No, so actually, this reminded me in like 2007, whenever Warhawk came out, I was playing it a lot online with the cheap ass gamer guys, the CAG clan. And we had gotten ourselves into like this online, like I think it might have been MLG. I don't know. It was some like really organized tournament of Warhawk clans that would play each other. And we were in like way over our heads. We had no idea. So we were fighting this one clan, who shall go unnamed because I don't want to remember it. But no, we got into this match. We were feeling pretty good, and we just got dominated. We were just like getting spawn killed, and they had like all these Warhawks just hovering over our base, just slaughtering us, and it was the worst. And then went on. The matches were like tournament spec, so it went on for like 20 minutes of just like getting murdered, and we were like chatting to ourselves. We're like, oh, I can't believe this. It goes on for another 20 minutes, and so after like the clock counted down. 20 minutes ended. We're like, okay, finally, it's done. We're like, good game, guys. We're trying to be all sporting. And then they're like, oh, no, we got to switch sides and do this one more time. That's the tournament rules. And we're like, no, we'll just give it to you. We don't need to go through. We already know how this is going to turn out.
Yeah.
But they were like insisted on us going through this because otherwise it would have been like a forfeit or there was some obscure rule they were pulling up. So no, we just went back in and proceeded to sit in our base for another 20 minutes, and maybe we put some effort into like the first couple minutes, actually like tried to fight back, but no, it was the same thing happened again. And oh my god, it was just so disheartening doing that second time. Afterwards I was just like, okay, I'm turning off the PS3, I'm going to Carl's Jr. I'm going to get the enormous cheeseburger or whatever.
That night, Carl's Jr.'s stock prices jumped 10 basis points.
Like, this is the one thing that could make me feel better right now. And
oh, man.
And I did it, and it was great. But that was horrible. Don't eat fast food.
I don't know that I've ever been to Carl's Jr. I don't know if we have. Do we have those on the East Coast? I don't think we do.
They're Hardee's.
Hardee's.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, I've never been to a Hardee's.
Oh man, it's
there's nothing there for you, Randy.
Yeah. No, it was like the worst thing, but it was great. It was great that one night.
I like a burrito. I have a little Taco Bell every now and then. I can veganize Taco Bell pretty easily. But my go-to lately had been So Delicious coconut ice cream, basically. And there's a flavor called chocolate peanut butter zigzag. That is dark chocolate frozen ice cream thing with a ribbon of chunky peanut butter through it.
Oh, man.
It
That sounds like it's right up Courtney's alley.
all of my itches very nicely. Yeah, it's good stuff. So
I'm not an ice cream guy, so...
Yep. I can kill a pint. I get about 3/4 of the way through that pint. I'm like, am I really going to eat this whole thing? And,
No, you got to keep going.
I'm going to eat the whole thing. You can't put a quarter of a pint back in the freezer.
No,
It
otherwise
gets that
you
frost
go
on
back
top.
in there
It gets
and
all
you're
hard and
you're just
weird.
disappointed.
No.
You open it up again and you're sad.
Yeah. So also, it places I dump my rage Twitter.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I have taken to Twitter. This podcast, I think, has really just become a vehicle for my rage.
You've been keeping it pretty under control, though.
But this is about as raging as I get. So when I say rage, I really don't mean like,
Okay.
punching a kitten or anything like that. All right. So cool. Let's tie a nice bow on game rage. I think we've gotten it all out of our system.
Do we hear from Paul? What was Paul?
I was
Paul,
just
yeah,
gonna
what's
say, I'm
what's your
sorry to
rage food?
disappoint. I mean, I used to do the food thing, but it's turned into just hitting the bottle. So
Oh, man. Oh, this got dark.
Right.
Well, that's why I didn't want to say anything. I was just kind of sitting here like, should I really admit this? But yeah, I think, a stressful job combined with, I don't want my hobby to be stressful and rage-inducing. I just hit the bottle.
God. I wish
I
didn't
can go
ask
through half a bottle of Crown Royal in one shitty evening if necessary, and that's not healthy. So don't do
Scotch. Oh, I love it.
that. Oh, bringing it back.
All right, last call before we say goodnight. We've got time for one last thing. I think we really just have time for one last thing. DJ, and since yours is time sensitive,
One
why
thing.
don't you...
Oh, man. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it probably doesn't matter at this point, but probably by the time you hear this, I am in Seattle for the Penny Arcade Expo.
Yay!
Yep. PAX this weekend, probably going on right now. I'm there. I don't know how much point there is in me talking about it.
that person tapping you on the shoulder while you're listening to this, that's DJ.
Yep. I'm right behind you. But I don't know. Should I? Yeah, I'll just keep going. I've got buttons. I've got my 3DS. I've seen a lot of cool panels. I don't know what's happening. How about that keynote?
Yeah, find DJ on Twitter. It's @Medley. We'll put a link in the show notes or get in
Buy
touch
him a
with us.
drink.
Yeah, do that too. Yeah, buy him a
It's going to be a
burrito.
good one. I'm getting excited. I am
I'm
excited.
a
I've been there
scotch
for
and a
like 3 days
burrito.
already. Yeah, scotch and burrito, huh?
But you will have a full report for those of us who can't make it out to Seattle when you come back, right?
Yes, yeah, we'll be talking about all the crazy games I played there.
Awesome.
Gonna be good.
It better be. And of course,
It
you're
will
going to
be.
do Donkey
Of
Kong
course.
cosplay, right?
No, I really wanted to cosplay as Commander Video from
excellent.
Good Chip Runner, because I think that'd be amazing. Like if I just went for one day and like ran around with the rainbow cape, because nobody would know who I was. They'd be like, just look at there's Commander Video. I think it'd be great, but like, how am I gonna get that costume on a plane? I don't know. So maybe someday. That's like my dream.
You want a
could make
rainbow
it
cape?
in
I can get you a
Seattle.
rainbow cape.
Well, I want the rest of the suit that goes with.
Oh. Well, you need the black, like the Green Man. You need the
Oh no,
black
but
version of
it's
that.
like a special rainbow. It's not like this isn't any old rainbow cape, Randy.
All right. Well, maybe for PAX East, we'll get our shit together.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you have questions or comments about anything we talked about on the show, we are VG Hangover on Twitter. We are VG Hangover on Facebook as well, or Vine, or Pinterest, or Instagram. What else?
We have a Pinterest?
Friendster.
Friends, I don't think we have a Friendster.
No? I don't know.
Let's not
Is
have
that
a Friendster. I don't
still
know.
a thing? Or you can go to our blog at vghangover.com. That's probably the easiest way. And let us know what's on your mind. Review us on iTunes, too. We beg for that occasionally, and
Send us
it
iTunes
helps.
reviews. They're great.
In some way we're not sure of, but it definitely helps.
Oh yeah.
It helps our egos.
And really, that's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, guys. This has been Randy Dickinson.
I've been DJ Ross.
This has been Paul Sandu.
Thanks for listening to Video Game Hangover. Good night.
Have yourselves
Night.
a good one.
You've been listening to Video Game Hangover, Send your questions and topics to us on Twitter at VGHangover, or leave a comment at VGHangover.com and we'll feature the best stuff on a future episode. This week's music is by Disaster Piece from his original albums Rise of the Obsidian Interstellar and Level. Find these and more at disasterpiece.com. Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week. $12 for the douchebag. And that's it.
That's excellent.
That is actually pretty good.
That describes your plane trip to Seattle.
It's not 12 hours.
It's not
Oh
anywhere
my
near
God.
12 hours. No, I know.